You cannot be serious, Chancellor Vex scoffed, flicking the outdated holodisplay with 2 fingers. This is Earth's military catalog? Verified, replied the systems analyst. All scans confirm it. Their largest ship tops out at 2 kilometers. Their outer stations use kinetic shielding. Most of their weapons use metal projectiles, another leader interrupted, chuckling under his breath. Projectiles in a plasma age. The chamber filled with low laughter, a rumble of political mockery passed between the 17 council seats of the Militant Core Alliance. Flags floated behind each representative, none of them bearing Earth's faded blue and green sigil. They really kept that primitive hull plating, said Marshal Vok, half amused. The alloy our ancestors phased out 5 centuries ago. They are a civilization that never learned power, sneered Chancellor Vex. All caution. No ambition. An evolutionary dead end. The Zarnafi delegate remained silent. He always did, because he knew something the rest did not. He knew what silence meant in Terran culture, and more dangerously, he knew when that silence stopped. 42 minutes later, at the edge of Dominion-controlled space, an early warning buoy screamed itself apart. Not exploded, disintegrated. The onboard AI had only managed to transmit a partial data spike before deletion. That spike reached the defense lattice relay in Sector V9, where it activated a Level 7 recon scan. One word triggered the entire cascade. Titan. Back in the council chamber, alerts began to ping mid-session. The first interruption was ignored. The second prompted a raised brow. By the third, everyone had gone quiet. A new hologram bloomed. In the center of the room, a massive black silhouette, dwarfing every standard ship profile they had. Length, unknown. Mass, variable. Drive signature, unregistered. Approach vector, Sol system. What are we looking at? Vok asked. The analysts. Voice faltered. Sir, this doesn't match any known Terran ship. Vex leaned forward. Then whose is it? A long pause. Then the screen pulsed once. A single line of Terran code scrolled across. You mocked our silence. Then the screen turned white, and the first station in the outer core went dark. Aboard the Indomitus, Earth's first Titan-class warship, Commander Kira Holt stood at the edge of the viewing deck, eyes locked on the vast ribbon of stars now parting for her ship. It did not hum. It did not burn. It moved with the authority of something ancient, not old in years old in design and intention. Its hull was layered with a fractal plating Earth never logged in any archive. Its weapons were hidden, not to be subtle, but because showing them was unnecessary. The ship itself was the weapon. Status? Holt asked. Her AI, VEGA, responded with clinical calm. Intercept in 19 minutes. They are still scanning us. Failing, Holt nodded. Good. They're preparing a transmission. Let them speak. They're mocking our lack of broadcast identifiers. She turned her head slowly, her voice even. Then let them speak loud before they can't anymore. In the council's war room, panic had replaced arrogance. They've disabled 2 long-range installations, shouted the tactical officer, without engaging. How? They simply passed by. The proximity field collapsed. Chancellor Vex slammed his fist on the console. Where's their command ship? Where is their fleet? The analyst looked up, sweat pooling at his collar. They sent only one. Everyone stopped talking. The room fell into a vacuum of disbelief. One? Vok asked, a dry laugh. One ship? Sir, the analyst whispered. It's the largest object we've ever recorded moving at. Non-hyperspace velocity. Then it's slow. No, that's the thing. It's not breaking speed limits. It's ignoring them. 17 systems away, in a remote outer moon, An emergency broadcast played for 3 seconds before cutting to static. Those 3 seconds were enough to collapse 3 regional parliaments. The broadcast was from a scout drone, just one feed. A ship impossibly long, covered in strange black geometry, emerged from a space fold not seen since the ancient wars. And from the ship's spine, something blinked. It wasn't a weapon. It was a single eye, a scanning lens the size of a mountain. And it blinked once like a judgment. Back aboard the Indominus, Holt moved to the center console. "They've just pinned us with a threat profile," Vega said. "Response? Projected orbital strike in 26 minutes. Holt nodded. "Engage Mark Protocol." A long silence. "Are you certain?" She looked up through the viewing glass. Her eyes burned with patience. They laughed. "They need a reason to stop." VEGA pulsed once. Then all ship systems shifted into burn silence. No light, no pulse. The ship didn't ready weapons. It simply altered its existence. From the Council's perspective, the Titan-class ship vanished. Not cloaked, not jumped. Just ceased being measurable. The last recorded scan showed a ripple then. Silence. Then an emergency feed from the Jupiter array played across every major display in the Council. Not static. Not a distress call. A poem, spoken in Terran Standard. "We do not come to conquer, we come to remind. Power is not noise. Power is not heat. It is the moment the room forgets how to speak." Moments later, the outer perimeter sensors of Council Station Greska lit up with a contact alert, visual only, no mass, no gravity signature. Then a shadow covered the entire side of the station. The Titan class had arrived. It wasn't fast. It was inevitable. From every deck, officers froze. Not because of alarms, because of the sheer size. It was as if the ship was a piece of night torn out of space and set adrift with purpose. Inside the chamber, Drovik finally cracked. "Fire everything we have." "You don't understand," Vox said. "It doesn't matter what we do." He stared at the shape on the screen. "It's not a warship." Drovik sneered. "Then what is it?" Vox's voice was quiet. "It's the end of pretending we were in control. The ship didn't open fire. It deployed a single object. A cube. No heat signature. No defenses. It landed on Council soil gently, perfectly. Inside it was no virus, no bomb. Just a mirror. And on the mirror, all 17 Council logos, cracked. Commander Holt watched the feed come through. No words, just stunned silence. "Transmission complete," Vega said. "They finally see it? They finally know we were never quiet. Because we were weak," she turned. "We were quiet because we remembered what happened the last time we weren't. And that was before Earth even responded. They tried to block the footage. Tried rerouting the satellite links, burying internal logs, overwriting public access archives. It didn't matter. Every planetary network still carried the image. The Titan-class warship Indominus hanging. Like judgment over Council airspace, silent as a cathedral, larger than entire cities. No flare. No threats. Just presence. And behind it stars seemed to scatter. Not because the ship blocked them. Because the ship seemed to scare them. The light itself bent wider around it. "Shut that image off." Chancellor Drovik barked. His voice cracked for the first time in 12 years. The analyst's hands trembled. "It's not coming from us, sir. It's global." Vok leaned. Back in his chair, face pale. "They hijacked our sky." "What do you mean?" "They're broadcasting without signal. They're using reflection." "Reflection?" "The ship is a mirror," he said softly. "They're reflecting our own systems back at us. It's not even a hack. It's worse. It's disdain. Commander Holt stood in the Indomitus observation deck, watching Council forces scramble across the planet's surface below. They looked like ants trying to command a god. VEGA, she said calmly. What's the closest armament trained on? U.S.? 62 rail cannons, 17 plasma towers, 4 orbital arrays, and all fired, none connected. The closest round lost velocity mid-flight, she nodded. Because of our armor? No, because we didn't permit contact. A beat of silence. Then, they're deploying heavy interceptors. Let them. Have they hailed? 3,000 times. Answer? Vega paused. Returning signal in 3, 2. A voice played through every channel across the planet. You requested our silence end. We have complied. The message lasted 4 seconds. And yet, that was long enough for 3 council cities to lose atmospheric stability. Because with those 4 words came a file packet, not a virus, not malware, just data, schematics, readouts, historical logs. Every known record the council had ever redacted about Earth, and everything they didn't know Earth had kept about them. War crimes they thought buried, treaties they thought burned, civilizations they'd wiped out for mining rights, footage, testimonies, entire lost languages, returned without alteration. Earth hadn't distorted the truth. It had preserved it. At Dominion High Command, the director of Truth Protocol stared at the screen with wide, horrified eyes. This isn't just evidence, she whispered. This is memory. And one line kept replaying through her feed looped by the Titan-class ship's ambient signal. You mocked our silence. On the moon of Isktel, a pair of mercenary scouts viewed the Terran ship through a long-range lens. One, a veteran, just stared. The younger one muttered, "It's not doing anything." "No," the elder whispered. "It's waiting." "For what?" "To see if we remember how to listen." The Council finally launched a full fleet, 5 dreadnoughts, 93 war cruisers, and 2 planetary-class heavy beams. They reached proximity, entered firing range, and froze. Because the moment they came within 100 kilometers of the Indomitus, nothing worked. Power stalled. Weapon coils shut down. Artificial gravity unraveled. Officers vomited as time itself fractured inside their hulls. They hadn't been attacked. They'd just been acknowledged. And the Indomitus had judged them unworthy. Inside URN-07, a sister ship to the Indomitus, Commander Rourke watched the synchronized collapse of the Council's most expensive fleet without a flicker of emotion. "They still think we built it to destroy," she said. Her AI's voice was cold steel. "We built it so they'd see themselves." Back in council chambers, the Zarnathi elder stood uninvited. Everyone went silent. "Do you feel it?" he asked. "Feel what?" He stepped forward, a slow, measured breath in his voice. The weight. No one answered. So he walked toward the center of the room and tapped the central console, switching the feed from military maps to a live stream of the Terran ship's side. The camera slowly panned across the hull. At first, nothing made sense: angular armor, black geometry. But then the letters emerged. Names. Thousands of them. Species from every corner of the galaxy. Dates, coordinates, system codes. The record of every council incident that had been buried in diplomatic language or erased entirely. The warship wasn't just steel. It was history made visible. The Zarnathi's voice shook now. They built a memory so massive it had to become a ship. On the ground below, citizens of Lithoros gathered in stunned silence beneath the sea. Shadow of the ship. Some cried. Some fell to their knees. A boy whispered, "Is it a god?" His mother said nothing. She couldn't stop shaking. The council called for retreat, but even that didn't happen, because the planetary transit systems jammed. Communications rerouted. Fleet vessels refused input. And not because Earth had taken control, because the systems themselves chose to obey the stronger logic. They had witnessed something that functioned better, more precise, more real. And in the language of machines, Earth was truth. Commander Holt stood at the edge of her command platform. VEGA. Yes? They'll remember this? No, they'll bury it. Rewrite it, she nodded. Then leave a message they can't erase. A few seconds passed. Then all across the galaxy, a final transmission went out. Just 8 words, spoken in hundreds of tongues. Power is not loud. Memory is louder still. Then the Indomitus vanished, not cloaked. Dismissed itself. Folded space like it was tired of being seen. And when it was gone, it was like the sky exhaled. But no one felt peace. Only the weight, the guilt, the echo. And that was before Earth even responded. They're gone? The silence in the council war room was unbearable. No hum from systems, no blinking alerts. Just stillness. Marshal Vach finally broke it. Confirm it again. The analyst swallowed hard. Confirmed. The Indomitus exited. Local space without using hyperspace or warp corridors. You mean it vanished? No, sir. I mean it chose to not exist in proximity anymore. Vach closed his eyes, exhaling slow. And what did it leave behind? The analyst tapped a single key. A projection expanded across the central chamber. Not a ship. Not a bomb. A symbol. A looping mark made of 3 overlapping circles, pulsing faintly with radiation. Signatures so unique that no species had seen them. Before Dot until now. Run it through the cultural libraries. We already did. And? It doesn't match anything. Except Terran records. Which records? Doctrine seals. On Earth, buried under layers of rock in the ruins. Of Corin 7, a server booted for the first time in 100 years. The lights inside the cavern flickered blue. A dust-covered plaque read, Titan Doctrine. Never strike first. Always strike final. Inside the console, something began uploading on its own. A slow stream. 1 data packet per minute. Each one a story. FILEA confession. Not from Earth, but from the galaxy. And each packet had 1 line attached. We were there too. In a classified Dominion vault, Commander Vex of the Outer Ring Fleet watched as his officers filtered through the new Terran transmission logs. Is this a second attack? One asked. Vex shook his head. No. Then what is it? A court. Record. 1 log open footage of a council prison barge from 117 years ago. An AI voice reciting dates, locations, and the sound of someone clearly human whispering. They screamed under your silence. Another officer scrolled to the next one. A black market trade deal recorded through a Terran spy satellite. Then a weapons test on a supposedly empty moon. Except the before and after feed showed hundreds of families missing afterward. They were watching all of it? Vex didn't answer, because deep inside, he already knew. Earth never left. They just hid where guilt grows, back in the galactic core. Panic swept across Parliament sectors. The Indomitus hadn't fired a single weapon. But systems across 6 trade worlds began failing anyway, not because of attack, because of recognition. Machines stopped accepting council credentials. Environmental systems rerouted. Transit gates demanded passwords in old Terran dialect. The most advanced tech in the galaxy now listened to Earth first. It wasn't a virus. It was a preference. As if the machines themselves were saying, they remember us, you rewrote us. In an underground temple on the forgotten world of Tsior, the old monks gathered. One held a tiny stone orb to the sky, and the orb lit up. They hadn't seen light in 300 years. Another monk spoke, weeping. They've returned. No, said the elder beside him. "They've only begun." Commander Holt stood in the meditative chamber of the URN-07. All Titan-class ships had one dot. It wasn't for command dot, it was for remembering, on every wall. Words were carved, not of victory, but of restraint. One in particular always struck her. The greatest weapon is the one that doesn't move until the universe begs it to. VEGA, she said aloud. Status of external responses? Vega responded, 3 planetary governments have collapsed. 2 species surrendered without request. 5 empires are debating evacuation from Terran-adjacent systems. Any counterforce? No one is forming fleets. Why? Because they finally understand they don't know the rules anymore. On Lithoros Prime, a child ran his fingers across the surface of a monument that hadn't existed the day before. No one saw it arrive. But now it stood tall. Black stone, smooth surface. On it, thousands of names. Each with a short sentence underneath. Each. One different, but they all ended the same way. And Earth remembered. The Council attempted one last maneuver, launching a system-wide obfuscation signal, meant to jam any incoming data from Earth. Override Terran-coded AI. It lasted 11 seconds. Then every system reversed it, not by command. By vote. Machines across the galaxy had cast their lot, and Earth had spoken more clearly, more honestly, than any code ever had. One server located in the depths of the Prime Trade Archive projected a simple phrase: "You taught us to lie. We chose not to." In the Great Spiral Basin, a nomadic space miner picked up an unexpected com signal. It wasn't directed at him. It wasn't even meant for anyone. It just was. A heartbeat signal, repeating every 9 seconds. He listened for 23 minutes before he cried. He didn't know why. Later, when his AI decoded the pattern, it translated the rhythm into words. "We carry every voice you silenced, every child you forgot, every apology you never gave. We are not vengeance. We are the receipt." The Council fell apart quietly. No declarations, just locked doors. Empty seats. In silence. Real silence. Not Earth's kind, the arrogant kind. The kind that comes after shame. On the outer edge of human-controlled space, aboard the URN-07, Rourke stared at the final transmission from the Indomitus. A single image. A planet. Burning in Council archives. Now restored in full detail. Not just topography. Voices. Laughter. Graves. Rourke closed her eyes. "Are they ready?" she asked. Vega replied, "No." She nodded. "Good. Because neither were we." And Earth never said a word. Not through governments. Not through diplomacy. They let the ships speak. And the ships didn't roar. They reflected. Because for every war the galaxy had erased. Earth had a name, a coordinate, a face. And for every time they were mocked. Earth built another Titan class. Not to launch war, but to carry witness. The galaxy expected fire. Instead, it received a mirror. A new ship entered known space. It didn't follow known vectors, didn't warp, didn't phase, didn't jump. It just appeared. No flash, no ripple. It was just suddenly there. A Titan class, but different. Not black, white, smooth hull. No angles, no weapons, no seams. It glowed faintly, not with heat, but with memory. The Council's outermost defense grid didn't even register its arrival, because the ship never triggered sensors. It bypassed detection the same way silence bypasses shouting. It didn't need to declare itself. It was the declaration. Commander Holt watched from URN-07 as the new ship positioned itself directly above the ruins of a Council archive facility. The location was symbolic. The destruction had been buried in false weather reports and controlled narratives. But Earth remembered. "This is the last one, isn't it?" she asked. Vega pulsed. "Yes. It's not here to fight?" "No. Then what?" "To teach." Back in the Council's emergency chamber, only 6 seats remained occupied. The others were empty. Some fled, some quit. Some simply couldn't speak anymore. One by one, systems across Council-controlled territories were going offline, not by force, by confession. Servers locking themselves, eyes refusing commands. Public channels playing recordings of previously silenced dissent. The truth wasn't leaking, it was flooding. And the White Titan wasn't broadcasting threats. It was broadcasting unredacted history. Entire systems froze not from virus or hack, but from something more terrifying: recognition. Their own past played back in Terran detail, some of it in their own voices, smiling as they ordered settlements destroyed, laughing while they erased languages, joking as they turned children into bargaining chips. The final Terran ship wasn't here to win. It was here to remember out loud. In a refugee camp on Ultra Prime, a small boy stared at the glowing sky. The ship hovered just above the atmosphere. He asked his mother, "Why are they so quiet?" She held him close, her voice shaking. "Because they're letting us hear ourselves." Council representatives tried one last time to call for a meeting, to issue terms, to negotiate, but no Terran responded. Because there were no diplomats, no envoys, only ships. And each ship was a conversation Earth had been forced to hold for centuries in silence. Now the silence spoke. On board the White Titan, a message compiled. Not words, images, faces, moments. A child's hand gripping a fence before a plasma detonation. A council senator sipping wine as a village burned on the monitor behind him. An AI crying quietly as it was ordered to delete a culture from its databanks. Every file labeled, verified, archived, then projected in every language. And in each projection, one line appeared beneath the footage. We were there. You were. 2. On the edge of council space, ships began deserting. Not to escape, to surrender. Some drifted into Terran patrol sectors without arms raised. Some turned off their engines and opened their hatches, hoping to be seen not as enemies, but as witnesses ready to confess. A few simply played recordings of Earth's last broadcast on repeat. They had nothing left to say, because Earth had said it better. Back in the remaining council chamber, silence reigned. No debates, no yelling, just fear. One representative leaned forward and whispered, "So, what happens now?" The Zarnathi elder stood from his seat, eyes hollow, voice heavy. "Now we learn." "Learn what?" "That Earth's greatest weapon was never a ship." "Then what?" The elder stared upward. "Time, patience, and knowing when to speak." The White Titan finally blinked once softly. Then it played. One final message, not loud, not long. Just this: your fear of us was never our problem. Your fear of truth was. And then it powered down. Not shut off, just finished. Its job was done. The image of the past had been restored. And that was Earth's only mission, to remind, not to punish. In the ruins of the council spire, people gathered. Not soldiers, civilians. They carried pieces of broken banners, old laws, lies, and for the first time in living memory, they burned them. Not because Earth told them to, because they wanted to, because silence had shown them who they were, and now they wanted to become something else. Aboard URN-07, Rourke received a ping from Earth Command, a short file. She opened it. Just a line, a directive. One she hadn't seen in decades. Stand down, the galaxy has heard us. And across the stars, the Terran fleet didn't return home. It simply dimmed, Ships stopped transmitting. Engines fell to idle. They became monuments, not threats, warnings, proof, because Earth didn't want to rule. It wanted to be remembered accurately. It wanted its silence to have meaning, and now it did. The Council fell. Not with war, not with fire, with memory. And in its place, across every surviving screen, in every known language, one message remained. You mocked Earth's defenses. Then we showed you what they were defending.